Philip Chicken Man Testa requested to borrow $50,000 from Sindone. Testa knew this maneuver in the mob, in which he, as the borrower, knows the lender, Frank Sindone, will be killed, and therefore the borrower would never worry about paying the debt. This maneuver will haunt Philip Testa in the future, as Frank Chicky Narducci would use this maneuver against him when Philip Testa becomes the boss of the Philadelphia crime family. Neither man saw this coming, and sadly took him to a house in South Philadelphia where Frank Monty was waiting inside to see him. When Sindone was shaking hands with Frank Monty, Chucky Merlino shot him in the back of the head and killed him. Chucky hit him 3 times in the back of the head and dumped it in an alley behind a store in South Philadelphia. Philip Testa immediately sent word out that Sindone's operation was to be split between his killers, Salvi Testa, Chucky Merlino, and Frank Monty. Sindone's top lieutenant, Joseph Chicky Ciangalini, was now aligned with Testa and Scarfo and will receive a piece of the action and will oversee what remained of Sindone's crew. Frank Sindone died at the age of 52. Frank Sindone's corpse was dumped behind a South Philadelphia variety store on October 29, 1980. The store was called G.C. Murphy Store at 2001 Oregon Avenue. This store is blocks away from Sindone's house. We will show the footage of G.C. Murphy and newspaper on the death of the Barracuda. Here is the footage of G.C. Murphy of what it is today, which is a grocery outlet store.
Was found in this
Testa did not survive this time.
Police don't have a suspect in the shooting, but they did locate what they believe to be
Sindone's murder had all the marks of a mob execution. He was
police
shot.
say.
It began the night of March 21st when Angelo Bruno, a respected and powerful don in La Cosa Nostra, was shot to death in front of his Snyder Avenue row home while sitting in a car driven by John Stanfa. Stanfa has since disappeared. Then, in rapid succession, the grisly murders of Antonio Caponegro, the Bruno family's North Jersey boss, and his brother-in-law, Alfred Salerno. Both bodies were dumped in the Bronx. Last month, John Simone of Yardley, Pennsylvania, a cousin of Bruno, was shot to death and his body dumped in Staten Island. Now Frank Sindone, a lieutenant who had a record of 100 arrests for illegal lottery and gambling. Sindone lived in the 1800 block of Schley Street in the Packer Park section of Philadelphia. He operated this steak and hoagie shop at 10th and Maya Mensing, but authorities say his major occupation was that of enforcer and loan sharking. Sindone's car was found 2 blocks from where his body was found and was taken to police headquarters where it is being combed for possible clues. As to who is responsible for the 5 murders, members of the Pennsylvania Crime Commission could only speculate.
What you've seen happen recently in the way of homicides probably reflects that unsettled situation in the family.
Who's taking over from your viewpoint?
From our viewpoint, Philip Testa.
Law enforcement officials say Philip Testa was Bruno's #1 man, and now Peter Casella has moved up the crime ladder and is Testa's first lieutenant. According to the Pennsylvania Crime Commission, there have been no gangland-style murders in the Bruno crime family for the past 20 years. However, in the past 7 months, there have been 5. The Crime Commission declined to say who might be the next, but added there probably would be others who, like Frank Sindone, would meet similar ends in similar places like this. Hank Berger, Channel 6 Action News, South Philadelphia.
6 days after Bruno's murder, there was a meeting in North Jersey involving John Stanfa, Albert Salerno, John Sindone, John Simone, Phil Testa, and Antonio Caponegro. 6 weeks later, Caponegro and his brother-in-law, Albert Salerno, were found in Brooklyn in the trunk of a car. On September 20th, John Simone was found shot to death in a vacant field on Staten Island. His car was found in Yardley, Bucks County. On October 30th, the body of John Sindone, Angelo Bruno's loan sharking chief, was found in a plastic bag behind a shopping center at 20th and Oregon in South Philadelphia. On February 20th of this year, the grand jury indictments were handed up against Phil Chicken Man Testa and 9 other alleged mob members. They were charged with racketeering, loan sharking, mail fraud, and illegal gambling. U.S. Attorney Peter Vira said at the time the indictments would seriously hurt mob activity in Philadelphia. But 10 days ago, law enforcement sources told Action News that other mob families had decided that the indicted men were expendable, and there was a chance they would exchange information if the feds would go easy on them. Therefore, the execution of Testa may have been ordered simply as a practical matter. This is Joe Sanchez, Channel 6 Action News.
Days after Bruno's death, several second-level lieutenants gathered to try to divide up the turf left behind. But it wasn't too long after that when more mob-style hits began taking their toll on the feuding factions. Antonio Caponegro and Albert Salerno were both found dead. Their bodies had been stabbed, shot, and mutilated. Another reputed mobster, John Simone, was shot dead. His car was found in Yardley, Bucks County. A month after that, the body of Frank Sindone, allegedly Bruno's loan sharking chief, was found in South Philadelphia. It was less than a month ago that law enforcement officials got in on the act with a sweeping indictment against Testa and 9 of the remaining alleged mobsters.
It could be, but the victim this time was not well known, which seems to make him an unlikely target of either a mob feud or a power play. It has to be stressed that any speculation that this was a mob killing is just speculation. All the police know for sure at this point is that 32-year-old Pietro Incerelli, father of 2, is dead following an execution-style slaying. John Rollins, Channel 6 Action News in Mount Laurel.
Bruno and Sindone were not just targets in the mob, but they were dead before the indictments were handed up. The case was based on the FBI investigation called Operation Gangplank and was one of the first bill on racketeering, influence, and corrupt organization known as the RICO Laws Act by the U.S. Attorney's Office in Philadelphia. Frank Sindone's funeral service will be taking place at Holy Spirit Church. His funeral would take place in the week of November 1980, specifically November 4th, 1980. Among the attendees will be the real Frank the Irishman Sheeran, whom we mentioned earlier, famously being depicted in the Irishman movie. Sindone's bronze casket will be taken into Fernwood Cemetery and Mausoleum in Fernwood, Pennsylvania, near the Holy Cross Cemetery, which is the resting place of Angelo, Bruno, the Testa family, Frank Monte, and more. Frank Sindone will be placed in a mausoleum which you are about to see. His youngest sibling, Jean Sindone, died on February 5, 1989. She will be interred in the crypt below her brother, as you will see in this video. Here is the crypt of the Sindone family.
Thank you for watching this video. Please subscribe to our channel and check out more of our content. Feel free to give your feedback and suggestions on what we should do next in the comments. This is Infinite Lee Productions. We love ya.